In addition to proposing that Canada become the 51st state, President Trump has also talked repeatedly about U.S. takeovers of the Panama Canal and the territory of Greenland. In fact, in a recent interview with The Atlantic, the president said he had rid himself of the, quote, crooked guys and investigations that limited his first term. And, quote, the second time I run the country and the world. Michael Scherer is one of the authors of that story. He joins us now. Michael, thank you for being here. When you heard the president say that quote that ultimately became the title of the piece, what did you take that to mean?
So President Trump came to Washington in 2017 really frustrated with his own ability to get things done. He didn't understand the town. He didn't know the people to hire. And he feels that he not only spent that first term, but then the 4 years afterwards during the prosecutions, after he was effectively blacklisted by corporate America, initially by part of the Republican Party, out of power, again at a disadvantage because he had to defend himself. And I think the defining fact of these first 100 days is after his victory last fall, he no longer has any institutional or individual rivals who are really challenging him. That includes even Democrats. And much of this first term has been going after and seeking retribution against the legal community, the academic community, against specific named individuals who challenged him in the past, who were part of prosecutions against him in the past. And he has moved very rapidly to make sure that there are really no obstructions to what he can do. And that's really what he's expressing there. This is a do-over presidency for him, and he is doing it over in a way that maximizes his own power.
And so to what does President Trump attribute his return to power, and how much of an influence does that have on his decision-making?
Well, so he talks about his own abilities. I mean, the story of the 4 years out of power is the story of a president who really was able to quietly and steadily rebuild his networks, rebuild his influence, and then come out of the midterms in 2022 more powerful in the Republican Party than he'd ever been before, to use the prosecutions against him in a way that actually enhanced his power in the country. And then to take control of the White House.
The president knows he has the world's attention, and when he says and does things, people watch and people listen. What a president says can move markets. Did you get a sense of what his overall agenda is regarding America's world standing?
He wants to remake the world in his own vision of it. And we've seen that pretty remarkably over the last couple of months. I mean, both with the tariffs that he's imposed and then withdrawn and partially kept, with the forced reorganization of military power in Europe by encouraging and actually sort of demanding that European countries take more responsibility of their own defense, that his decision to work very closely with Russian President Vladimir Putin and break rather spectacularly with the Ukrainian president as he tries to negotiate an end to the conflict there. The end of what has been, almost a century of America not trying to expand its own borders. He came into office not having talked about this much on the campaign trail, saying that Canada should be the 51st state, that Greenland should be in our control, and that the Panama Canal should be under greater U.S. control. Those are all pretty remarkable moves. I mean, if you remember in that first inaugural address, he mentions manifest destiny, this idea that the United States has sort of God-given right to the hemisphere, to controlling this hemisphere, which is just, sort of a remarkable turn.
Michael Scherer, thank you.
Thank you.